Not right now, no.
I'm gonna stand behind it.
It's amazing to see all of your faces. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for making this happen.
Well, my name's Anna. I'm the chair of the East Hampton Democratic Committee. This is not a political. Hello. This is not a political event per se. Of course, we are living under the specter of some terrible politics right now. My blood was literally boiling on Friday when I watched Volodymyr Zelensky in the Oval Office being berated by cowardly bullies, and it made me want to do this. I wanted us to all be together. I wanted us to stand strongly and firmly on the side of love, on the side of democracy, in defense of Ukraine, in defense of all people around the globe who are defenseless, who are afraid, who are vulnerable. So we're here tonight in community, and I want to kick it off with some wonderful speakers who I'm so honored to have with us this evening. First off, I want to bring up Reverend Ben Shamba, the rector of St. Luke's Episcopal Church, who's here to share a few words with us this evening. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ben Shamba. I'm the rector, the priest at St. Luke's Episcopal Church right here in East Hampton. And you know, when things happen, this community gets together and we come together, and it is such a wonderful thing to be here together with you and with my friends from the faith community and other groups around town. The Judeo-Christian heritage is based on a simple idea: to love God and to love our neighbor. To love our neighbor as ourself. So if your neighbor's house was on fire and your neighbor came over and asked you for a fire extinguisher, would you say, "Give me your family jewels first"?
No.
Or would you go and help them, right?
Yes.
If your neighbor's house was on fire and they came and asked you for help, would you go give gasoline to the bully who started the fire in the first place? No, you'd go and help them, right? Usually at things like this, we say the Pledge of Allegiance. And the Pledge of Allegiance ends with those words, "for liberty and justice for all." Well, I'm here to tell you that all means all. We're here not just for ourselves, but we're here to spread the freedom and democracy that we have here in this place around the globe. We have a responsibility to stand up for what is right.
Yes.
Today is Mardi Gras. Mardi Gras, Fat Tuesday. It's a day of celebration. A day, I'm about to go to a pancake supper tonight where you eat all you can. But people in the breadbasket of Central Europe don't have enough food. In a place with the most fertile fields around, that gold and that blue don't have enough to eat. Tomorrow is Ash Wednesday. And Christians in that country and Christians all over the world are going to get ashes on their forehead to remind them that our bodies will decay, but our spirits will last forever. But the ashes in Ukraine are ashes of cities that have been destroyed, and husbands and sons and family members and friends who have been killed. And daughters too, thank you. Thank you. It's very true. Ash Wednesday is the beginning for Christians of Lent, a time when we go through the wilderness to prepare for Easter and new life. But these folks are in the wilderness right now. So we're here to stand with them. We're here to stand for who we are and who we want to be. We don't want to be what the world thinks we're becoming, right?
Right.
So we stand tonight together. We stand in community, we stand for democracy, we stand for love of this community, for love of our neighbor, wherever they may be. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Reverend Ben. Next, I'd like to ask Rabbi Josh Franklin, who is the senior rabbi at the Jewish Center of the Hamptons, to come up and say a few words. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here. Move back here. Some of you know that back in April 2022, shortly after the war started, I made a trip over to the Polish-Ukraine border in order to go bring supplies over there, in order to go bring funding for the refugees who were making their way over into Poland. While I was at the border, there were a number of aid agencies who were welcoming in refugees into Poland who were streaming over from Ukraine. And we talked to a number of the aid workers, and one of them said something that has stuck with me ever since, kept me up that night and has kept me up many nights. He said, right now there's a shortage of rape kit sutures in Ukraine. And that image I have not been able to get out of my head. I met many refugees who streamed across the border, who left everything behind, who left their husbands behind, their fathers behind, most of whom were children and most of whom were wives, because the men were not yet allowed to leave. They were fighting a war. I met one woman, Nastia, from Nikolaev, who shared with me the brutalization of her town, the fact that her husband was still over there fighting, and the trauma that her 5-year-old daughter had brought with her into Poland. She thought she was never, ever going back. So much of the community here in East Hampton supported the efforts of helping Ukraine in the time of need. Students from Eleanor Whitmore dropped off to the Jewish Center shortly before my trip hundreds and hundreds of cards that I was able to distribute to many of the Ukrainian refugees who were on the streets. Coincidentally, when I was at the Polish-Ukraine border, I made my way to a refugee service center to volunteer. In that World Center kitchen, there was a familiar face who I found, who I see in the crowd here right now, Mark Smith, who deserves a huge amount of credit. Mark was supposed to go on the vacation to the Caribbean, but decided to cancel his vacation plans and go volunteer over at the Polish-Ukraine border. It was a bipartisan effort of Americans going over to Ukraine, going over to Poland in order to help out Democrats, Republicans, Americans, because we knew that what was going on in Ukraine was not right, that Russia was in the wrong, that Russia had invaded this country, destroyed it, laid it to ash, and refugees were streaming into nearby European countries. And Democrats, Republicans, all stood up to make sure to voice our concern and make sure to voice our support for the Ukrainian people. Now in 2025, it seems like the narrative is being rewritten. And I think we're here tonight to make sure that the narrative stays the same. We stand with Ukraine. We stand with Ukraine's people. And we will continue our support of a people who wants nothing but freedom, who wants nothing but self-determination, and who wants nothing but peace for their very own people. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Rabbi Franklin. Next, I'd like to introduce a dear friend of mine, Jim Lubekin. Jim is the Vice President of Meals on Wheels in East Hampton and a veteran of the Vietnam War and also an award-winning baker, I might add.
I wish I could do enough cooking to make some of these problems go away, but I can't. 58 years ago this Friday, it was March 7th, 1957. Thank you. I raised my hand and made a pledge to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic. A few days later, I entered the Army as a second lieutenant, and a year after that, I spent a year in Vietnam. I say all this not to say that I'm any better than anyone else, because I'm not. But I had a choice back then to either find a way to defer my obligation to the military or to do something else. And I said to myself, when I looked around the people who were being called in, and I felt close as I can to people of color, that it was wrong to avoid the service. I say this for two reasons, because I think it gives me a certain level of validity in where I'm coming from. And more important, in this day and age, it makes me extremely sympathetic to what the people of Ukraine, whether they are soldiers, parents, or refugees, what they're going through. And in fact, my wife is a refugee from Estonia in World War II. And we talked about what it's like to have to live as a refugee. The other reason why I'm really glad to be here and to say these things, I have a deep belief in democracy. And there's a part of me that almost wished that instead of Trump taking the stand, MAGA, Make America Great Again, I wish the Democrats could come up with a similar slogan, Make America Great Again, for a very different reason. Not in terms of what Trump has said, but make America the America that many of us grew up in, where people could get together, could talk, where we respected what was going on in Congress, where we respected the president, where we were respected around the world, and more important, where I believed, having been raised as a Democrat, that we were responsible for taking care of our brothers and sisters, because we are all brothers and sisters. I say this in part because people look at my hat and it's from Vietnam, and I don't mind wearing it because I think it gives me a right to tell certain people to go to hell. And I've done that because I think I can speak out, not for other veterans, because I don't pretend to do that, but I think many of us who sort of have a deep belief in what we stand for as a country. So there are people much more eloquent than I am, but I think who have the same belief that we are essentially a good country. There's a phrase I have sort of lived my life by: perfection is the enemy of good. We are not perfect. We are not. But we do a damn good job as a country, and I'm very proud at that sense to say I'm an American. And I just wish that years from now we could go around the world. I've got a son living in England who has no desire to come back here right now. But I wish I could go around the world and have people respect the United States as they once did, not because we were perfect, but because we were setting an example for the rest of the world. So I simply leave with the thought, God bless Ukraine and the people there, and thank you all for showing an interest in what we're doing tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Jim. Our next speaker is Olga, and Olga, I'm going to try my best. Haverluk. Olga is a community member who is Ukrainian American and has graciously agreed to say a few words this evening. Olga, come on up.
Good evening. Thank you, Chairwoman. Oh, sorry, not doing this often. Okay. All right. Oh, I need my notes. Thank you, Chairperson Squenta and Co-Chair Harris for organizing this event, and thank you, everyone. I can't see everybody's faces, but thank you so much for coming today. A few months ago, During those dark winter mornings when the sun rose late, I was out walking my dog. It was pitch black, too early to remember anything. Treats, poop bags, and flashlight. As we walked through the darkness, I didn't realize that Kobe, my dog, had picked up something and eaten it until it was too late. The beagle he is, I couldn't blame him, but I blame myself. A wave of shame, guilt, and fear washed over me. Was he going to be okay? Should I have been more careful? Luckily, he was fine. But when we resumed our walks, I made sure to be prepared, not because I thought of it myself, but because my partner did. He bought me this hat, actually, that I'm wearing today, with a built-in light. And wow, what a difference it made. I could see where I was going, what my dog was sniffing, and what was ahead of us. But something unexpected happened. Even with that light, I found myself still walking in fear. Fear that he would find something dangerous again and I wouldn't catch it in time. Anger at whoever had left it there, and in shame that I hadn't been more aware the first time. The light helped me see, but it didn't silence that noise in my head. That's when I realized light alone isn't enough. Awareness, presence, and action are what allow the light to do this job. And that's what brings us here today. For 3 years, Ukraine has been fighting for its freedom against Russia's brutal aggression. And for 3 years, this community, Americans from all backgrounds, has stood in solidarity, offering support, compassion, and strength. Ukraine's fight is not just about land on a map. It's about the right to exist, to live freely, to dream of a future without fear. My parents who are here today may not understand every word in English, but they understand what truly matters: unity, resilience, and the power of standing together. I'm not a politician, and I don't speak from a place of politics. Since this war began, I turned more towards faith in our shared humanity, in compassion, in love, and in the belief that human life is not a bargaining chip, that freedom is not a privilege but a right. We have seen what happens when life is reduced to a mere transaction. Families torn apart, children stolen from their homes, entire towns erased from the map. We have seen unspeakable cruelty, but we have also seen something just as powerful: courage that refuses to fade, kindness that defies war, and communities that rebuild despite the odds. This is what reminds us that even in the darkest time, the light persists. So today, let's not be consumed by the noise. Let's be guided by the light. Let's continue to stand, to show up, to remind the world that democracy shines when we refuse to let fear, anger, or indifference cloud our vision. Because the moment we stop standing for what is right, the darkness wins. But as long as we shine a light, through action, through unity, through unwavering support, hope remains. Thank you all for standing with Ukraine. Thank you for being the light. Slava Ukraini.
Okay, I want to thank all our speakers, and I'm going to say something really quickly before the absolutely amazing gift that we have here in East Hampton named Indy Eaton is going to come up and sing a few songs for us. When I wanted to organize this event, I was motivated by, again, my blood boiling when I saw Zelensky sitting there and the self-control he exhibited, and knowing that the pain that was etched into his face, and his body language, and the impossible situation that he is in and has been in for 3 years, and the strength he has shown us all, and the example of there's so few these days of somebody standing up for what is right and standing up to bullies at great personal risk and sacrifice. And when I put this together, I thought of some beautiful photographs and videos that I had seen recently in January from major cities in Germany, when tens of thousands of Germans came out to protest fascism and the AfD party that, thank God, did not win in the recent German elections. The sea of light that the German people who came out in defense of freedom and against fascism and anti-Semitism and hate and violence was beautiful. And I'd love for us to do that this evening while Inda sings. I understand we can't do it the whole time, but I would love for everybody to get out their phones and to put on the light and to lift your phone in the air. And let's make our own sea of light as we stand together, we stand tall, and we stand united for democracy, for Ukraine, and for everyone who's suffering in the world right now. And I'm going to ask Inda Eaton to come up.
Hi, my name is Inda Eaton, and Anna, I've got one for us. And I talked to Anna this morning. I didn't even know this was happening till this morning. And I wouldn't know even what to add on the beautiful speakers that have shared their hearts with us. But Anna brought something up. I said, "How you doing?" She goes, "I don't really know. And I don't even know what to do, but I want to go to the village and be with people." And I said, "I'm going to come bear witness. Because she said it might just be you and I, or three other." And I said, "Well, I'm going to stand beside you as we stand beside each other." And I think that's the key thing. We're living in a lot of fear and what to even say. And maybe we don't have the sentences yet, but we're here bearing witness. And I'm going to play you this song, and I'm going to keep trying to get the courage to come bear witness. Song called Free. Cause I woke up in the desert, woke up in the plains, woke up in the valley of the shadow of death, but I fear no evil, for thou art not with me, and I am free. Cause I'm free to roam, and I'm free to go, to spread my wings, to be free. Complacent in Tucson, where I met you by plane. There's a world, and there's a danger, and sometimes everything ends up in pain. But thou art not with me, and I am free. Cause I'm free to roam, and I'm free to go, to spread my wings, to be free. Cause I'm free to roam, and I'm free to go, to spread my wings, to be free. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh.
All right.
Maybe we do an uh-oh, we go like this. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Oh, 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 oh. Guys, to freedom and this beautiful community, we're going to keep bearing witness. And thank you, Anna, and thank you, everybody. Okay, I know everyone's freezing. I want to just close by saying a couple of things about resistance. Love is resistance. Joy is resistance. Self-care is resistance. Taking care of your neighbor is resistance. Our local food pantries, Project Most, I Try, local governments that actually try to do things to help their communities is all resistance. So let's go forward, loving each other. And then the other part of resistance is what I'd like you to just reach out to me, info@ehgems.com. And I have a newsletter that will be going out every week with actions that you can take locally in Suffolk County, on the phone, writing letters. We have a representative who is a Republican and is a liar. And is
Washington.
so we have to put pressure on him constantly. Call his office. There's other things. That's right. So email me at info@ehgems.com. Ask to be put on the newsletter, and I will weekly be sending out information, fact checking, making sure we know what the truth is, because there's a lot of lying going on out there. And I will give you actions that you can take every week so that we can be the resistance again. All right, thank you everyone for coming out. Let's stand together in every moment of every day. Stand for goodness, for love, for democracy, for truth, for Ukraine. Thank you everybody.